Cover is Man United against Everton. I believe this is a non-televised game actually, but it's a 1:30 kickoff on Sunday. Man United against Ipswich finished 1-1 in Amorim's first game. I thought the performance was overall a little bit underwhelming. Ipswich were probably the better team. If you think about if Liam Delap had converted his two massive chances, it would have been completely different, and I would say Ipswich go on to win it. It wasn't quite the sort of high-octane, high-pressing style that we expected from Amorim, but it's worth noting that that was obviously his first game in charge, and I can only imagine it takes some time for him to implement such radical changes. They do have a midweek game against Bodo, I believe, this evening, which will be the second game for Amorim, so obviously plenty of information to be gained from that, especially in terms of predicted lineups. But what I am going to do for this in this stream is just sort of look at how we lined up against Ipswich and what we can take away from that. For Everton, they somehow failed to score against Brentford last time out, who had Norgard sent off in the first half. His red card has actually been rescinded, so he won't be suspended for any games. So he's had 27 shots, 10 corners, but that amounted to just 1.2 XG. And considering that the visitors had just 9 shots amounting to 1.1 XG, it's obviously not a great sign. They weren't clearly, like, they didn't deserve much more than the point they got in the end. So not a good sign for them. It's worth noting as well that Everton have had quite an easy fixture run so far, but they've won just 2 games in 12. So in their next 6, they play Liverpool, Arsenal, Wolves, Man United, Chelsea, and Man City. So it's set to be a very, very tough run for them going forward. In terms of the injury report, for Man United, we saw Luke Shaw return against Ipswich. Lisandro Martinez didn't feature in that game, but he is set for an imminent return. For Everton, they have no new injury concerns, so I would expect them to go unchanged from their previous outing. Again, markets will be limited for this one, given that it's non-televised. And I'm still not fully accustomed or set with the Man United system, so a lot of these bets will just be leans. The first one that I have in mind, though, is for Young to commit a foul, given that he'll be up against Garnacho in this game. So he's committed a foul in 8 out of 10 starts this season, playing as the right back with sort of Coleman and Patterson out. Garnacho is drawing 1.31 fouls per 90, so quite a notable number. And the last time he faced Garnacho, actually, Young massively struggled. He had 3 fouls, 0 tackles. He conceded a penalty and was booked. So it's a bit of a mismatch on the left wing. I think those two should find plenty of duels against each other. And Young is 1.4 for a foul with Sky, so he's their top price. And I do like that price actually. Obviously, it would have to be doubled with something, potentially Garnacho fouls drawn, but that is one to keep an eye on as being good value. Against Ipswich, the bet I took was Bruno to score or assist. Would I take that one again? Probably not. He had his chances in the sense that he created a big chance for Garnacho. He had a couple of close calls with shots, but ultimately his best, or the closest he went, was from a free kick. And what sort of worries me most about that selection was the fact that when Eriksen went off, Bruno dropped into that sort of deeper midfield role, which is obviously not ideal for his goal scoring prospects. It probably helped his expected assists, but definitely not his goal scoring prospects. So that's something to keep an eye on. It's also worth noting that Casemiro started the game instead of Ugarte, and was replaced by the Portuguese man after 55 minutes. So I would imagine Amorim sort of uses those two, Casemiro and Ugarte, interchangeably, which is not ideal because it means neither are guaranteed minutes, and it just doesn't make their prospects as good as if they were to start. If one of them was to be injured, other one would be a good target, but as of now, I'd probably be a bit wary targeting those two. Something to potentially pair the Young foul with would be Amad Diallo tackles. Now, he blanked against Ipswich, which was a bit interesting actually, but he does draw a much better matchup here against Iliman and Jai on the wing for Everton. Diallo is averaging 2.35 tackles per 90 for United this season, with 2 or more tackles landing in 5 out of 10. Obviously, the data there is nothing sort of spectacular, but it's obviously worth noting that he was in a more defensive role as a wing-back in Amorim's first game. And if he is to do that again, you just imagine that his defensive output will only increase. 2.35 tackles per 90. Landed two more tackles in 5 out of 10 in a more defensive role in a good matchup against Iliman and Jai. So I think he is one to target, potentially doubling with Young. But as I say, I haven't really got any concrete angles for this game. I think it's a tough one to call, especially with the new system. And I'm just not fully set into it yet. So that'll be it for that game.